Mm, hmm. Like I got stuck. The mystery. Throwing a word out there. The mystery is greater than the actual. Do I need to say more than that? It's funny sometimes how one of my thoughts leads to another. Like I was sitting here thinking about how uh, I was in my imagination being criticized by my family. This is something that happens sometimes. Is that I have in my own head people criticizing me, and I was being criticized for this like obsession that I have with wanting to know where things come from, where they originate from, things like that. Like uh, I when I was sitting here, I was thinking about the days of the week because I've written on Facebook several times about the origin of the days of the week, what their names come from, and that sort of thing. Because I was curious a long time ago. I'm 47. I think when I was 18 or 19 years old, uh, I was curious. I think something. I think I was thinking about the names of the days of the week. I was like, well, Sunday is obviously the day of the sun, and it seems like fairly common sense to say that Monday is the day of the moon. But what if that's the case? Then what is Tuesday, and what is Wednesday and Thursday and Friday? And so I looked it up in a dictionary, which is what I had at the time. This was back before Google. I don't think Google had been invented yet. And so that's when I learned that there are 5 days of the week, 4 days of the week, sorry, that are named for Old Norse deities. That is, as long as you don't count the sun and moon as deities, right? Because sun and moon were Germanic words also, but they refer to the planets, or what were seen as planets, I guess I should say. In ancient times, the sun and moon were seen as planets because they don't follow the same path as the fixed stars. So you have the fixed stars, and then you have these other types of lights or heavenly bodies that go their own way. So those were called planets. Uh, and that was the sun, the moon. There were 7 of them: the sun, the moon, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. So Saturday is the day of Saturn, Sunday is the day of the sun, Monday is the day of the moon, Tuesday is the day of Mars, Wednesday is the day of Mercury, Thursday is the day of, I almost said Thor, but that is where the name comes from. Thursday is the day of Thor, which is the planet Jupiter. And then Friday is the day of Freya, which is the planet Venus. This wasn't what the Old Norse people believed at first. This was something they got from the Romans because the Romans named each of the 7 days of the week after those 7 planets. So when they interacted with the Germanic people picked that up and named the days accordingly. But I don't know that there's any evidence that they recognize those planets as the way the Romans did. They made the connections with the deities, right? So they looked at, so Tuesday is Tears Day, and it was either, I don't know if it was the Germans or the Romans who made the connection. They said that Tyr is equivalent to Mars, the god of war. Even though Tyr is also called Tew, which is apparently etymologically related to the English word deity. It basically just means deity. And so then they made the same connection between Odin and Mercury, and then between Thor and Zeus, who was called Jupiter by the Romans, and then between Freya and Venus, the goddess. So that's where the days of the week come from. So this is the sort of thing that I find interesting. I like to know these things, and after I was thinking about this criticism about my knowledge about this sort of thing, I had this. The next thing that came to mind was I was having this imaginary conversation with my father, and I was explaining to him kind of like why I like knowing these things, right? And I used the example of the Spanish word culo, which is the word for butt. Like if you say a culo grande, that means a big ass. Like if a woman has a big ass, you say she has a culo grande, right? And but what I find interesting is that culo, the Spanish word for butt, is etymologically related to the English word occult, as in occult school, an occult witchcraft, or things like that. But the meaning, the relationship, the connection comes from a word. Both occult means hidden, but that is the connection. That kulo apparently, I don't know how it got that meaning. Apparently, it was the part of the woman that was hidden, which was her butt. That's the part of the woman that you don't see. Apparently, something like that. So, but I like that idea. For me, knowing that added this extra sexiness to the word culo for me. It made the word sexier, and part of that was just because of this idea of the butt being hidden, right? Because there's something sexy about things which are mysterious, right? Sometimes not knowing something is sexier than knowing something. Uh, and then it hit me that in a way that was like my life, right? Like the the mystery of what my life is will always be sexier than what it actually is, right? I've always had this sense or this idea that life was just on the horizon, right? Like I am sitting here waiting for this day when my life begins, or it's just through the next door, right? Life is just around the corner. I just got to make one more turn, one more door to go through, whatever, then life will hit me in the face. And I thought, maybe it never will, because the whole thing of the mystery for me, in some way, is preferable. This idea that life is somewhere out there, right? And I just have to find it. I think I'm not going to say that I'm stuck in that, or that I'm attached to that, or that this is my problem. But I do find that interesting. The whole idea that that the mystery is sexier than what is, and I do wonder how much of my life is that, where I am like, because I remembered like when I was younger, my father informed us that he was getting us a present. And he totally like hyped up this present before he gave it to us. It's like, you guys are going to be so excited, and you're going to be, I mean, you're just going to be, you won't believe it. You know, this sort, I don't remember exactly what he said. I was like 12 years old. But he really hyped up this present, and it got to the point where I felt like at this point I'm so hyped up. The mystery has become so sexy that it doesn't matter what he gives me. It's not going to live up to the anticipation, right? And it didn't. He gave me a basketball that had been signed by the players of the North Carolina basketball team, the UNC, which I didn't care anything about. I don't care about signatures. I've never wanted an autograph in my life. I never understood this fascination with autographs, right? If my family wants to criticize me for being obsessed with knowing where words come from or whatever, I would say it's silly to be obsessed with autographs or signatures or whatever. I don't care. So for me, it was not a great gift, but like I said, I don't know that it would have mattered. I think he probably could have given me anything, and I would have been like, eh. The hype has already done its damage. The mystery has already done its damage. I don't think there's anything you could give me that would, uh, that would live up to the anticipation. And I do wonder sometimes, or not sometimes, but just now, if that is what I do sometimes. I do wonder if how much the kind of idea that life is this great thing that is, I'm just going to absolutely love it, is the reason why I just never live my life, because I'm always kind of, waiting for this mystery to be opened, to be revealed, and I don't want it to be revealed. Because the anticipation is the part that I like. Maybe that's just from too much disappointment in my life. Maybe I've learned that there is no satisfying gift. There is, all gifts are, eventually discarded. I don't know. Most everything that I've been given in my life, I no longer have. There's not a single gift I've been given in my life that I still have, except for things like knowledge, right? If someone taught me something and I still have it, then I still have it. But I do have a red shawl that someone gave me about 3 years ago. No, maybe 5 years ago. I may have that for a while. But that's because it doesn't take up much space. And it'd be very difficult to get rid of it. It was a very special person who gave me that. Did I just reveal something else? Maybe this could be applied to the gender thing too. Maybe I just prefer being in the mystery. Maybe I'm just preferring to be in this cloud of confusion because there's this sexiness in just not knowing. This kind of appeal to, I guess that's why they say ignorance is bliss. knowing the truth will set you free. So, eh. I do wonder when my life is going to start. I do notice this whole thing of like this idea that where I'm at isn't life, and that life is some kind of mystery. It's like I am. It's almost like I'm in a video game, like Zelda, and I'm like going through dungeons and fighting monsters. Not real monsters, but like my own insecurities. Uh, in this kind of with this anticipation that I'll come to some kind of trophy room type thing where like there's this gift that's like this is life. This is what it means to be truly alive. Of course, I didn't just make all that up, right? Like this is something that I got. One of the very first biblical verses I ever remember hearing growing up was the one that says, "Small is the gate, and narrow the path that leads to life, and they are few who find it." And I was maybe 11, 12 years old, and when I heard that, I was in church when I heard it, and I remember thinking, I'm going to be one of the few who finds life. And it may be that verse, you know, that kind of got me off the rails. Because I suspect that if not for this idea that there is this such thing as real life, right? True, genuine life, right? This is not something that's like actually described in the Bible. You have to read the definitions of the Greek words, which is one of the reasons why I like looking up where words come from, right? Because like in the Bible, it's where that line says that, where it says, "Small is the gate, and narrow the path that leads to life." If you look it up in the original Greek, because it was originally written in, well, I can't say it was originally written in Greek. The oldest copies of the New Testament are in Greek. No one has ever found an older copy of the New Testament in any other language that I am aware of. But so if you look up the lines where that word is used, because there are different words for life in Greek, and like 4 or 5 of them are used in the Bible. And but if you look up that one, that word is also used in the Gospel of John, where it's in him is life, and that life is the light of mankind, right? That is in the Gospel of John at the very beginning, and it's referring to the Word, right? In the Gospel of John begins, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And it goes through a few sentences, and it gets, or a few verses, and then it goes to, "In him the Word was life, and that life was the light of mankind." It's kind of implied in those statements, but it's not explicitly described, right? Until you read the definition of the word that's used there in Greek. Because when you read the definition of the word, which is zoe, the definition is genuine life, real life, a life which belongs only to God. That's the definition of that word. It's not just life, but that's how when it's translated, they just say life. They don't say genuine life or real life or true life or things like that. Uh, the implication is already in the statements, right? Like when it says that life is the light of mankind, it implies that it's a different life than the one that I'm living now, right? Or just this kind of state that I'm in, right? There's another kind of state, right? Another kind of life that is light compared to this darkness that I live in, right? That I live in some kind of darkness where it's like I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what I'm doing, right? I do feel like my life is kind of pointless. I do feel like I'm wasting my time, stalling, these sorts of things. And this is kind of the idea of that life. If you read about it in Greek philosophy, it is that life in Greek philosophy that it is what gives men their purpose. Uh, so, so reading about that may have messed me up a little bit. It may have, I may have gotten stuck in this idea that there's like, going out and getting a job that's not it. That's not the real life. uh, there's this mysterious real life somewhere, and the gate to it is very small, and the path is very narrow, and not many people find it. Right? And it's the greatest thing I'm ever gonna find. Right? it's, it's like that present. You're just gonna be so excited when you find it. You're gonna be like, I have justified my existence. My life can't get any fucking better than this. And maybe the anticipation has ruined it. Maybe there is no life that I'll ever find that will ever live up to the anticipation. Uh, and that's why I stall. You know, maybe life is that job. Oh, ooh, shoot! Sorry, I'm not wearing any pants. I just had to stretch. I pop my back, but it's like 12 o'clock midnight. Should I make some coffee and make another video or what? I don't know. I'll go back and watch this one and see how I feel about it.